Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. Today, we're going to be talking about how to build 10 houses at once. What goes into that? Is that obtainable for the average investor who's just getting started? At what point should you try to go out and do that, or even acquire 10 properties at once? If you guys have been following me, you know we come across some deals where the sellers are selling like 100 deals at once, 50 deals at once. And a lot of people are like, Brian, how can I go and tap into that type of opportunity? What goes into that? So we're going to talk a lot about that. So definitely stick around. There's always gems that I'm going to drop on things like this that are going to show you how to scale up. So for people who want to scale to the next level, definitely stick around. Because if you can do 10 deals in a year, even, and most people never do, you can scale out of the 9 to 5 very quickly, like within 12 months or less. So definitely stay locked in. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribed. For everybody who does that, I'll send you instant access to a free real estate training. It'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on a dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that. Our next real estate ride along, March 23rd, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Philly. Spend the day with me, inspecting properties, learning the ropes on how this game works. Definitely tap into that. We still have some tickets available. We've already sold some tickets for the next one. So if you sit on the sidelines too long, you just miss out. If you're interested in the boots on the ground program, where we build houses for you, so we find the properties, we will rehab them on a budget, we will do the tenant placement, and we will property manage them. So that full service model where, if you're too busy but you still want to invest, or you're looking to invest out of town where your money goes further, not in your backyard, reach out about that. We'll show you how to tap into that program, which is pretty cool. And that's that. If you guys have any questions, definitely shoot me a text. Sometimes it's easier to reach me there. Sometimes people watch these and then they have quick questions or follow up. Shoot me a text, 215-398-4709. And if you're watching this, it'll be scrolling along the screen, so you'll see it as we go through. Let's jump into a little bit of mindset. And guys, if you have questions, drop them in the chat section, drop them in the comment section, and we'll just keep flowing. Let's roll into the mindset. The mindset for today: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Go with a team. And your team is really important when you're trying to do 10 deals at once. I was talking to somebody earlier today who was interested in the Boots on the Ground program. I think they're going to tap in, and we'll build a house for them in Philly, which is going to be a lot of fun. But they were asking me, like, how do you do all of this? And sometimes people, watch these sessions, or they're tapped in, and they're like, man, Brian's just doing everything. Like, this guy, I can't run at that level in terms of intensity because I'm always on real estate. I'm always on real estate all the time. But what people don't realize is I have a team. And I was telling the people I was talking to today, I couldn't do any of this without my team. I would never attempt to try to build 10 properties at once without a team, without a strong team. That would be crazy. So if you're watching things, HGTV, Property Brothers, and there's that lone wolf mentality of, I want to make money in real estate, so I'm going to learn how to do everything myself. I'm going to learn how to build the houses with my bare hands, and I'll just put them together. I'll save all this money, and I'll do my thing. That person, that version of you, can never scale to 10 properties at once, because you could never be in physically 10 properties at once. So you have to get outside of that box if you want to get to higher and higher levels. You can't start off. I wouldn't even recommend starting off in that line of thought, because it's a tough habit to break. But as you see scale, this is one of the values of the Boots on the Ground program, is when people tap into that, they see my scale in terms of my systems, the different team members who are there, how they're operating with each other, what the different channels are. Like, how do you actually manage a system that's capable of doing that many deals? And that is not with you being Mr. Everything, any of you, which is good news, because you don't have to be exceptionally great at anything. You just need to learn some systems, a few strategies, and you'll be where you want to go. And you can scale as big as you want to go. So keep that mindset. If you want to go far in this game, focus on team building, focus on virtual assistants, focus on building your construction crews, focus on long-term relationships within the lending space and having, different forms of capital that you can go to. Some people you can raise a little bit of money from. Have a bunch of relationships, and you'll go further in this game by not just doing it yourself. So internally and externally with lenders and different people who are interested and could tap in through you. But just, don't lock yourself into this lone wolf mission. You'll never get there. And in fact, I've seen guys who had multiple deals. So some of you like to count other people's deals, really. And a lot of us will do that when we're just getting started. We're like, whoa, that guy got 50 houses. Whoa, he's got 100. And you start counting deals. Eventually, if you scale high enough, you'll stop. But as you're looking at that, realize you only need one perfect deal. And that's kind of where we're going to start. It all starts with one successful deal. So a lot of us think about just starting off the game. We want to do big multifamilies, or people come to me, I want to do a 10-unit building. I want to do a 20-unit building on my first deal. But they couldn't handle a 10-unit, 20-unit problem. They couldn't handle that issue, that 100K issue, a lot of us. But starting small with one successful deal, it is the fastest way to scale to the next level. It allows you to make mistakes in a vacuum on a very small deal where you can have a $500 or $1,000 mistake versus a $10,000 to $50,000 mistake. Those deals will go faster. There's less scrutiny from license and inspection, and some of the different issues you can run into there with permits dragging. And these are some of the things you have to overcome as you're scaling. But starting with that one deal is essentially like, playing in the sandbox at the end of the day in this game, especially if it's relative to building 10 at once. This is how you get your feet wet, how you get started, and you refine your systems. You're in your first deal. In fact, you're going to build your construction relationships, your lending relationships, your acquisition relationships to a degree, a realtor, some wholesalers. You're going to have those relationships on deck. You're going to probably have an architect, an engineer, maybe an interior designer, a property management, tenant placement agency. You're going to know how to pull your licensing. You're going to know how to be compliant. You're going to have created an LLC. All of these things in your first deal. So taking all of those things that are happening, and there's more. I just didn't want to keep rambling on. Taking all of those things, when you go to do deals 2 through 10, it's really just doing the same process over and over again and with more scale. So it's taking everything that you did right in deal number 1 and making that a system. And then taking everything you did wrong in deal number 1 and eliminating that with a better system and hopefully a fail safe. But it all happens on that first deal, which is why if you're just getting started, you don't need to focus on going big or going home. You don't need to focus on multiple deals at once. In fact, I would argue that a lot of people who are just getting started end up doing more. This is another problem. Some people won't do any deals. They're stuck in paralysis through analysis. Some people will do too many deals. They're a little too aggressive. So they get in and they have this feeling like they want to do multiple deals because they're in that deal counting mindset. They're looking at the guy who's got 50 and saying, I want to get there. The fastest way there is to get as many as I can right now. And that's true only if you have done a successful deal or 2, or tried to scale a little bit. But if you haven't done that yet, jumping out of the gate and trying to do multiple is an easy way to fail. So this is in part a bit of a warning on that, and an encouragement to enjoy where you're at in the process if you're just getting started. If you're just getting started, you're actually in the perfect place to learn this process the right way, how to build houses the right way, how to do your deal analysis the right way, the right markets to invest in. Interest rates are falling right now. So you're at a stage where you can actually go out and execute on a really good deal or 2, and then scale that quickly into a falling interest rate market into 20, 30 deals. And that's going to be a really easy way for you guys to break free from the 9 to 5. Like, there are going to be people who tap into some of these strategies that we talk about, and in the next 2 years are just going to completely separate, because as they get this first deal right and they go through the course content and the VIP mentorship program and start to understand the scale that's there and what we're really talking about, a lot of people are going to take off, which is going to be fun to see for me in particular, people like me. But some people are going to wonder, like, how are they leapfrogging me? How are they getting to the next level? It's all going to be about some of the things that we talk about today. Guys, if you have questions, drop them in the chat section, drop them in the comment section, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with somebody who you want to get value as well. And let's keep flowing. I'll stop and answer questions as they appear. The first system you want to focus on in order to scale your way up. In fact, I will argue you cannot scale past one deal. Even if this deal was in your backyard, you couldn't scale past one deal without this system. And it's the eyes and ears system. The eyes and ears system was what let me know, okay, there's actually a way to do even 50 at once. Even before I did 50 deals at once, I believed I could because of the system. It's really just keeping it simple. Everybody knows somebody who's kind of not doing much, just kind of chilling, sitting on the couch, not really going after it, doesn't have a plan, and needs some extra money. And this person could be, like I said, in your backyard. They can be of value. If let's say they're across the country, but they're in a better market. They might be in Ohio or something. And you're like, oh, you can get them off of the couch, get a smartphone in their hand, get them essentially on-site training. So sending them into the properties, look at everything, scan this, go to City Hall, pull permits, essentially building them into a virtual or a remote assistant, we'll call it, but in your backyard, where you're investing, where you're doing deals. Having them truly serve as your eyes and ears, which means they don't need to know anything about construction. It's really you learning this and how to invest and how to analyze deals. But as you teach them, they're going to become efficient enough to be a physical representation of you on site at the job. Having that type of system in place is going to allow you to leverage yourself, leverage your knowledge, leverage your resources. Because while you're busy doing deal analysis or acquisitions, you're at the sheriff sale, you're at the auction, checking out properties, you have another physical representation of you that is basically a representative, like a manager of your LLC to a degree, going out, seeing properties, reporting back to you with information, pulling licensing, meeting inspectors at the property. They're facilitating a lot that needs to be facilitated. And they'll start for dirt cheap when you're just getting started off because of the scale. One thing that comes with scalability is the ability to negotiate discounts. It's one of the most important reasons why you want to learn how to scale. It's not only to get more cash flow, which you'll get, but it's to reduce your build cost, reduce really all of your costs. Because at scale, you're going to experience as much as 40% discounts. And for those who are actively doing like a rehab right now, that's like your rehab costs going from 100K to 60K. And that's a real 40% that you can kind of stuff back in your pocket on every deal you do. So as you do more and you cut your costs down with volume discounts, it can really accelerate you, even on a cash out refinance type of a strategy, even more so than just pure cash flow, which is what most of us are looking for. So you have to focus, if you want to scale to the next level, on who that core point person is. If you don't have that person in your network, you can literally go on Indeed.com, jobs.com, Craigslist. You could post different ads for this person and train them. If you don't know how, or you just don't know enough about real estate to even go to that level, then you should tap into mentorship. You should tap into an education that will get you to a level where you're more proficient, and then you can teach somebody else, leverage them. This is team building. This is not going alone. And you should do this earlier than you think you need it. It's probably the best advice I could ever give anybody. Because somebody gave me that advice, and it was advice a long time ago, and it was great. Get that person before you think you need them. Scale with that person from day one. Because if you learn how to operate with somebody like that from day one, you're quickly going to scale to the next level. Because once you get it down, your systems, you already have that person in place, and they can go see 4 or 5 properties in a day, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a day. If you wanted to see more than that, you probably need another point person. But then with another point person, you can do 20 deals at once because each person can go see about 10 a day. So have that system. Hopefully I explained that system well enough for you guys. But if you have questions about it, drop it in the chat, and we'll just kind of keep flowing. The next thing, this is an important piece on your team. And guys, these are all systems. You're going to come across them at some point or another along the journey. It's just a question of how long it's going to take you to get to that point of scale. The next person is the acquisitions associate. This is somebody who you're going to train to just bird dog deals, essentially. Like I point and shoot, you chase them down. That's what it is. I'm looking at the auction. I'm looking at the sheriff sale. I'm looking at Redfin. I'm looking at Craigslist. I'm on Facebook Marketplace. I'm essentially everywhere looking for these deals. And when I find good ones, I'm going to train somebody to run analytics on those deals, put together numbers on those deals, at least to a level where I can come in and fine tune, where I'm not pulling all of the information myself, because there's a lot that goes into that. Believe it or not, there can be a lot of time to really dig into a deal at a deep level, not at a rudimentary level, like a back of the envelope level, but at a very deep level. To dig into a deal is, even at my level, is going to take you 20 minutes. To really take your time, massage the comps a little bit, make sure you're picking the right numbers, really look at the videos or the pictures, really fine tune a rehab budget. I'm going to say something about rehab budgets too. That'll help you guys. But it takes time. So having this associate who's doing this allows you to stay fresh, to always wake up and look at fresh deals and be able to pass them through a system that's going to almost like a funnel. It's going to spit out the good deals, because you're going to put quality deals at the top of that funnel, and it's going to spit out good deals. Good deals lead to multiple offers. Multiple offers lead to locking up pennies on the dollar deals. And that's part of your overall strategy. So you need this. You need also multiple exit strategies to scale. As you're scaling to multiple deals, it becomes very important that you have the right exit strategy. Like, you're not just going into a deal with no plan. You're going in like, hey, I'm going in, I'm going to Section 8 it. If Section 8 doesn't work, I'm going to room rent it. And I'm still going to cash flow. Multiple strategies. If that doesn't work, I can put it on a MLS and pop it for 50K. Multiple exit strategies, because you're moving serious volume. If you go into a hard money lender's office and you say, hey, I want to do 10 deals at once, that's a $2 million loan. Like, you need strategies, you need exits, because you're playing at a higher level. And that's going to be a new muscle for a lot of people. And it should be a new muscle. There's nothing wrong with that being a new muscle. To say, hey, I'm leveraging, $2 million at once across 10 deals. That's, it's relatively serious. So you want to make sure you have multiple exit strategies, that you're locked in, that you have experience from a prior deal. It's the reasons why you don't want to just jump out and try to do this out of nowhere. I want to say, it's not quite off topic, but I sent something that's going to help some of our people to scale. It was in our boots on the ground program. We sent out I'm trying to pull it up, a matrix for our people. A lot of people were asking me this question: how much should I be budgeting? How can I get better at budgeting for renovations? How can I get better with my numbers? How do I know what I'm looking at? We talk a lot about working backwards, starting off with your comps. Then once you have your comps, you need to know your cost of construction. And then you keep working backwards, and you can see exactly how much money you can make. Here's some good numbers for cost per square foot. These are actually I took maybe like the last 150 deals that I analyzed, maybe more than that, hand picked some ones, down to like 50 to 70 deals. And then we averaged out the actual construction budget on these deals, what it actually cost us to build them today. Single family, cosmetic, if you're doing like a cosmetic renovation, that's not full gut, you're not busting it down to the studs, about $60 a square foot. That's a safe number you can use. That's an average, right? So this is not going to get you laser focused like we get within the course content, like we get within the mentorship program, where you can customize this to say, oh no, this is light cosmetic or this is heavy cosmetic, because there is some variance there by the deal. And if you don't know how to really fine tune it, it's harder for you to outbid the competition and outcompete. But that's a safe number. A full gut, about 106 square feet, dollars per square foot. So you can start to map this out. If you have a 1,200 square foot building, you can use those for your multiples. Multifamily is also around the same, $106 per square foot. So if you're doing a multi, the things with the multis is they're much bigger. But the full guts, the multis aren't that expensive relative to single family on full gut jobs. So those costs are about the same per square foot, believe it or not. Because once you gut it, it's just rebuilding it. And it's a very similar process doing it as a single or a multifamily with the same amount of square footage, especially in a row home. So keep those numbers, $60 and $100 to $106. Those are going to help you guys to back your way into deals. You guys got to get faster. That may make you an hour faster per deal right now, depending on what level you're at on your analysis. Some people, it takes them a very long time to put together a rehab budget. So that's going to save you a lot of time, just working that quickly. Now you just need to learn comps, what this property is worth. You can back your way into some good values there. Here's a question. Do you all partner with realtors in different states? And if you do y'all need a realtor in Mississippi? I'm here to help. You could definitely tap in. We have people in that market who are in the mentorship program. So you can definitely tap in. Somebody in the IG chat said, what city are these numbers based off of? I'm in LA. I wish I could do a full gut for 100 per square foot. That's a great question. And the answer is, this isn't a balanced market. Philly is the numbers you see in Philly, you're going to see in Ohio, you're going to see in Baltimore, you're going to see in Delaware, you're going to see in Jersey. You might not see them in New York because they're going to mark you up. LA, they're going to mark you up just because they can. Not for any valid reason, but just because they can mark up your deal, because they know people who live there have more money because the houses are selling for more. So they're just going to mark it up. But there's not really a rhyme or reason, because if you look at it, the cost of materials is national. Typically, like the cost of lumber means the cost of lumber, especially when it's coming in from some of these building materials. They're coming in from out of the country. So they're just coming from there to here. It's not state specific, right? So there's just these random markups because the contractors know that it's market and they can get away with it. But the materials cost the same. So because I've built over 300 houses, I know the cost of the materials, and then I know the cost of the labor. Some of these guys, they're just getting over, but at the same time, it's a higher cost of living in LA. It's a higher cost of living in New York, which is why people will move out to cheaper cities over the course of time. Somebody said LA does what they want. Let's get on to the next topic, and I'll jump into more of these questions. In order to scale up successfully, you need multiple lenders. You have to have lenders like credit cards. I try to keep 3 of each. 3 hard money lenders, 3 portfolio lenders, 3 bridge lenders, 3 local community lenders. What else do I need? I need a bunch of credit cards. I need credit lines, get the HELOC, get access to as much liquidity as possible, because like I said, let's say you're in the middle of multi-million-dollar loan and you need to shift, you need to unlock capital, you need to refinance a deal to extend the length of the term, you need a lot of options to do that, especially if you're dealing with 10 deals at once. So it's 2 million. So you might go to a bridge lender and say, hey, how much can you take? And they're like, we could do 1 million. We'll take 5 of them. You might get that answer. You don't want to have that answer. That's your only relationship. Now you're scrambling, and there's nothing worse than scrambling. So after doing a couple of scramble missions and figuring it out the hard way, which is how, unfortunately, I had to figure it out. You guys don't have to figure it out that way unless you want to, unless you're a glutton for punishment. But after figuring that out, you just kind of learn how to scale. You're like, oh, I need more relationships here if I want to get to the next level. So you have to keep multiple lenders. And there are a lot of lenders out there, guys. Lots of lenders. There's no doc lenders. There's lenders that even if you didn't file taxes for the last 2 years, they'll work with you. There's lenders that'll give you money if you have a 500 credit score. You know, there's 100% lenders. There's community lenders. There's a lot of different people out there. A lot of us just haven't done the research. So you might feel like, oh, I got declined by somebody, or somebody told me I couldn't qualify, but you might have just been talking to the wrong type of lender, or you haven't talked to enough lenders, or the lender that will meet that specific need. So you have to do your research on your lenders, who's out there, have different broker relationships. It's another good relationship, a mortgage broker or 2. One might just flop out of the business. You don't know. Sometimes people burn out over the course of time. I just lost 2 engineers in the last month. They just passed. One was young, one was older, both of them. So what if those are my only relationships? And it's like, these are your guys too. These are like, man, lost an engineer, lost another. Just got 2 calls this last 7 days. 2 engineers out. I'm like, man, crazy. But you have to have multiple relationships and multiple lenders, but extend that to everything. If you got plumbers, have multiple plumbers, multiple electricians. Just keep scaling in every form of the business. Don't just scale in number of deals, scale outwards as well in terms of your relationships with contractors, architects, engineers, permit expediters. You want to really keep expanding constantly. And the best way to do that, it might be hard to do that without mentorship, right? To tap into somebody who already has those relationships. That's an easy way to do it. Harder way to do it is to build as you go, build the plane while you're flying it. But that is another good method if you have no other method, or that's just a method that you chose. But always make sure you're building. Always make sure you're building. Juber said, very excited for my first deal. Thanks for everything. Yeah, Juber tapped in from Florida into the Boots on the Ground program. I told him too, and I tell people in the Boots on the Ground program, there can be a rhyme or reason. Most people are getting their first deal within 30, 45 days. Boom, locked in. Like locked in. Some people are getting 3, 4 deals. Boom, first 2 months. 2 deals. People can run pretty fast. Some people come in red hot. He's one of those guys. I think he's been in 14 days. Boom, deal under contract. It can happen really fast as well. Some people just have that luck, or I think it is what I found is the people that go after it, the people that love acquisitions, they just tend to do very well in real estate. If you could fall in love with any aspect of real estate, fall in love with finding profitable deals. Just that. That's the only thing you got to fall in love with in real estate. Finding profitable deals. If you could just find profitable deals, there's always going to be money to finance them, and there's always going to be people to build them with, period. Because the whole market's looking for profitable deals. So that's the number one skill set. And the number one thing, the reason you should fall in love with it is because you'll learn it faster if you fall in love with it as a skill set. The money, everything else follows that, because all of the food that is eaten through real estate, I was talking about this with my brother. And we were just talking about this real estate. I'm like, man, you know how many people eat off a commercial deal, like 100-unit building? And he works on those sites and deals with those levels of meetings where there's 50 people in the meeting. Everybody in that meeting is making 100K. And they're eating off it. The lender's eating off it. The brokers, the mortgage brokers, the realtors, everybody's eating off of that deal. It's crazy. But it's all because somebody found value. You want to be that person that finds value. Hey, Brian, after the first few deals, how do you know when to slow down or scale up? I think it's a matter of comfort. It's a matter of comfort in relationships. And, you know, part of the scale, if you're doing it the right way, it is partially organic. There is going to be some pushing of the lever in terms of buying more deals than you can build through. But over the course of time, I mean, you will scale organically. You'll do 2 deals at once, then 4 deals at once. Then you'll do 10. It's not like you have to go from 1 to 10, or that necessarily makes the most sense. It does and it doesn't, depending on the market. If rates fall real hard this year and they get back into the sweet spot, which is when you can do cash out refinances in the 4% range to 5% range, that's going to change everything. That might be a time where it's like, you got to go hardcore. You got to lever up. You got to do 10 at once and just figure it out, because the rates are so low and you want to lock those things in on 30-year fixed. But outside of any type of a artificial kind of market created speed or a necessity for speed, I think you scale up when and as you feel comfortable. Don't hold yourself back. That's the number one thing you shouldn't do, which you should start doing naturally if you want to scale up, is just start buying more deals than you can build right now, and then scale your team up. If you do that, you'll win. Once you scale your team up to the next level, you're going to be able to collect more cash flow out of those deals. You're going to lower your costs. You're going to get yourself to just a higher level. So that's what I would say, is just take your time, scale up gradually, buy more deals than you can build right now, and then work your way up. Work your way up. But just don't keep doing 1 deal at a time. Start buying 2 deals at a time. Stack up until you can do that. Call your crew together and then try to keep them running, because a lot of this scale stuff is about momentum. In order to truly continue to run at scale, you have to maintain flight. It's like getting a plane off the ground. Can be a lot of work. You got to go at a certain speed, but then you have to maintain that speed or you're going to fall out of the sky. So there's a balance in terms of your scale. You want to do it in a way that's sustainable. So you can go from 2 to 4 and 4 to 8 or 10, and then you can go from there to 20. But if you try to go from 2 to 20, you're going to make mistakes because you're going too fast, and then you're going to set yourself back. Don't go too fast. It's not worth it, because it's not really a race like that. Because once you start playing with scale, you're pretty much done, because you're quickly going to reveal to yourself that you can create more value outside of the 9 to 5 than in it doing anything else, once you can operate at a certain scale. So just keep pushing. I think you're ready for scale. I mean, I know you, so I think you're ready for scale. I think you're ready right now, especially from what I've seen. You've seen enough to scale. I think it's just a matter of maybe even looking for opportunities where it's like 2 properties on the same block or 2 properties side by side, where you can have that experience of doing multiple at once and seeing the value of them being in both houses simultaneously, or sending in the demo crew and then running behind them and kind of staging the project out. it'll get you to the next level. See if we have any other questions. This is interesting. What would you say the average cost per day for a crew on a full gut rehab in cities like Cleveland and Philly would be? Cost per day for a crew. That could easily be like $1,000. Let me think about that. 300, you figure 300, 200, 200. A couple of helpers, 150s, it's another 300. It's 1,000. And that's without, I think with just your basic crew, about 1,000 a day. And that's without your plumbers or electricians, your higher paid trades or your HVAC guys. That's just with your main crew, the demo, because the demo, you're going to use more guys. They'll be cheaper, but more guys. Backyard, interior framing, masonry, kind of all of those things. You could easily run $1,200 a day. And then how much are you running that crew? Are you running them 6 days a week? So that's money. That's $7,200 a week. You can quickly, this is the thing about scale and why you should scale slow, because you can quickly scale your way into a crew that's $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month. You can do that faster than you believe. And that might give you a heart attack. If you haven't built a muscle of at least doing 10 a month, carrying a small mini crew at 10 a month, when it makes sense, when the deals can fund it, you can build it into the rehab budgets essentially. When you can do it like that, and you can scale a crew off of the volume of your deals. But I would say easily that the cost of construction is the cost of construction. And if you go to LA, they're going to charge, that number's going to be $2,000 a day. I mean, that's what they're going to charge, $2,000 a day. It's real, man. It's real out here. People are really playing for keeps. This is why I tell people, you better educate yourself if you're going to get into this game. You better learn. Tap into some type of mentorship program and get your mental weight up. Because when you go out here, that money can move very quickly on you. You can get turned upside down very quickly because there's a lot of pressure. There's wholesalers that'll pressure you to put, hey, I need $5,000 for the deposit. They'll pressure you, I need $7,500 for the deposit. Boom. Now you really wanted the deal. I didn't. I wouldn't give it to them. I'll just walk from the deal and go find another one. But you really want it. So boom, you put that down. Then the contractor's like, hey, I'm going to need 1,000 a day. We're going to handle everything. Then 10 days goes by, another 10 out. Boom. Then you bought 10 in materials. Boom. Price of labor went up. Trade war. Boom. You just keep getting hit. So you have to start small, because small, you can survive that stuff. Big, it's, now you're talking about that times 10. So you have to, and that's even more reason to get educated before trying to do that. Even more reason, especially if you're trying to really push this thing as hard as possible. Another good question, when doing 10 deals at a time, is there a point where 100% lenders would allow you to fund the fees with a transactional lender? Well, lenders will do a lot of things. If you start doing 10 deals at a time, you're going to be in the top 1% of residential developers in the country. You will be at just doing 10 at once. Even if you did almost 10 a year, at 10 a year, you're in the top 5%. So you're now going to have a little bit more wiggle room. With even 100% lender, they may offer you a little bit more leverage or cut the costs at a level where at that volume, you're now saving another 30K as you do these deals or something like that. Like there's going to be different wrinkles where you can roll closing costs or you don't have to escrow as much money. There's different ways to reduce the amount of liquidity needed to execute on these deals, which means you might be able to do 10 deals for 100,000. 100,000, we're going to execute on 10 deals that unlock on average, if each deal was 1,200 square feet and you're full gutting them at $100 per square foot, that's 120,000 per deal rehab budget. That's $1.2 million liquid to build these 10 houses. And if you have your systems and your team together and your process together, and you can build those houses at, even if they would cost a regular person 120 per deal, because you're saving 30% on materials, because you have things like a warehouse, different efficiencies and systems that are saving you, you can now make money on every deal you do, because that's 30% that you're saving, you're essentially making. It's going to show up as cash in a refinance. You're going to grab it. So there's a lot that goes on, but you'll get a lot more leeway with a lender. You'll be able to do a little bit more. They'll play ball, because these lenders, I mean, if you did 50 deals with a lender, they would make almost maybe $500,000. Seriously. And you have to start thinking like that. If you do a deal with a lender, a $300,000 flip, they might make $25,000. That means something to them. It's a relationship. Now, if you do that 10 times, they make a quarter, or you do that 40, 50 times in a year, and they make $500,000, and they don't take you to lunch. Who do you make $500,000 for? They don't even take you to lunch. The amount of disrespect of some of these lenders, because it's like a bravado thing, but you're actually making them money. So, but a lot of people don't think that way. So the dynamic, they always try to act like they're looking down on you, or they're looking at you with a microscope and testing you out. This is why I keep multiple lenders. You know, that's why you got to keep multiple lenders. He said IRS. No, the funny part about even what we're talking about, because we're talking about loans and refinance capital. Loans and refinance capital, that you're talking about all mortgage money. It's not taxable. When you do a cash out refinance, the money you get back is not taxable money. It's an advance of a mortgage payment, essentially, because it's a debt. There's no tax on it. And even when a lender's lending you money, it's not like taxable transactions. In fact, you're getting tax write-offs with this. You're going to get some tax write-offs, which is going to be crazy. You're going to get some bonus depreciation out of this. You're going to look really good for your tax return. You should actually do this because of the IRS. You should do it. You're going to pay property taxes, though. So you're still going to pay taxes. They say real estate investors don't pay taxes. Where? There's only like 2 places in the world, I believe, where there's no property tax. Like 2 municipalities in the world, maybe 1, where you don't pay property tax, like ever, for the life of the property. Very few out there. So you're always going to pay those property taxes as an investor. But federal taxes and payroll and some of these other things, you're going to get some nice tax write-offs. You're going to get some really nice tax write-offs. Hopefully that helped. Another question. Should you have a construction team set up prior to acquiring the deal, or should you interview several, taking them into the property to get estimates? Should you have a construction team set up prior to acquiring? I don't think you need it. I wouldn't wait to have the construction crew before learning how to do deal analysis, run my comps, find profitable deals. I would not wait, because you can't get a good price on a deal on construction if you don't have a deal. It almost sounds funny saying it, but how could you get a good price on a deal if you don't have one? So I'm just relating this to like doing your first deal. If you don't already have a construction team, it's because you haven't done deals yet. If you've never done a deal yet, you're not going to have a construction team set up prior, unless you're in something like the Boots on the Ground program, where you're leveraging one of my teams who's done hundreds of deals, right? You're not going to have that naturally in place. And you're not going to get good pricing anyway, because contractors get calls all the time from people who are like, I'm looking to do a deal. I'm going to be Mr. Everything. I'm going to do 20 this year, and they never do one. They probably talk to more people like that than anybody in the industry. People who will just never get the deal done. So they're going to say, yeah, you got a deal. Okay, great. I'll give you the I got a deal guy price, which is a knucklehead price, probably $130 per square foot. Knucklehead, wasting my time. They're not going to take you seriously. Now, on the flip side, if you went out and did the market research, had the knowledge, did the analysis, and you're like, this deal's profitable, it's going to cash flow for XYZ reasons. Here's what it's worth. I can get it for 50 cents on the dollar, 40 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar. I'm seeing all of those numbers right on the MLS. Right on the MLS. I'm going to go out and grab one of these things. Once you get that under contract, you're going to have a 30-day window until you close anyway. Or you could put in a 60-day, depending on the market, if it's soft enough. And it's getting softer. So you put a 45-day contract. Cash offer maybe, close with hard money. Now in that 45-day window, you can bring in the contractors. You do a full sprint. Come on in. I got this under contract. We're closing in 45 days. Give me your best price and we're going to get started. Now they can give you you got a deal price. And they can see the food right in front of them. And then they can decide how hungry they are. That's a better setup, isn't it? Makes a little bit more sense to me to set it up that way. Even though it's more nerve-wracking because you don't have the crew, so you feel a little naked. You feel like the emperor without clothing. Where you're like, I don't have any crew here. How am I going to get this deal done? But you'll get it done. Stick with your back of the envelope numbers. And at that $60 per square foot, $100 per square foot, stick with those numbers. Send in a crew later to verify, confirm. If you're in something like the mentorship program, we would just confirm the numbers for you. Because you don't need the contractors to know what it's going to cost to renovate the property. You just need to know how much it's going to cost to renovate the property. That's really all you need to know. If you knew how to build a budget at that level, you wouldn't need a contractor. You could always find a contractor to fill the gap because you know the cost. And the cost that I'm telling you guys, these are not cheap costs. These are strong market value costs. So you're going to find contractors who will get the deals done at these numbers. You will. You can deal with the cheap guys, but the cheap guys ain't worth it. They're not. They're a headache. When you're going to hustle backwards, you're not going to scale fast enough because you're going to be too busy babysitting. That's going to happen to you. So that's how I would set it up and why. Because now you can get the best pricing. And I would tell those people that are coming into that first deal, hey, but by the time we're done with this, I'm going to have 2 more. And by the time we were done with that one, I have 2 more under contract with some other lender saying, let's go, giddy up. We're doing 2 at once. And when I bring these back, I'm telling them we're going to do 8 at the end of these 2. And they're like calculating their commissions. Cool. They're ready to go. And then you execute, you deliver for those contractors, word spreads. Hey, the guy said he would have 2. He had 2. He says he's going to have 4. He's probably going to have 4. Then you have 4. And you'll scale naturally at the right pace with a good crew. And maybe you stop around. Maybe you go past 10 at once. Maybe you stop. From my purview, if you can do 10 deals in a year and make good money doing it and take your time and pick the right assets, you'll actually be on track. You really don't ever need to go faster than that, but you can if you want to. If you have the appetite for it, certainly go faster. And don't let anything that I say about limits be your limit. You could do 1,000 deals at once if you want to. It's just a question of systems and then what types of crews and how many bodies you need to carry, because you can't do that alone. You're going to need assistants and VAs and all different types of things, and they cost money. And then is your system still efficient with all of those costs? I don't know. That depends on your ability to manage, which you're now getting into different ranges. But at 10, that's still just profitability off of building. You can systematize that and do very little. Quite frankly, if anybody watching this wanted to do 10 deals a year at full scale, you would probably only work, if you worked 5 hours a week, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. If you worked 5 hours a week with the right system, I don't even know that you would work that much. Maybe two hours a week of work. You could run an operation like that very comfortably. You can make great money and get great tax write-offs for yourself. It's just a matter of just learning enough to get there and then scaling in all directions. All directions. So that's that, guys. That's what I have for you today. If anybody has any questions, drop the questions. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video with somebody else who you want to get value as well. And just stay locked into the game. Keep watching the Fed. They're cutting rates. Interest rates keep going down and are projected to continue. There's just never been a better time to be tapping in than right now. I don't even know what to say outside of that. But tap in and let's see how low rates go. Nobody's really talking about that right now. Everybody's still in shock, but you don't really know that rates won't go back to 3%. You have no idea what's going to happen. All you know is they're trending down. And that's a good thing. And if they keep going down, or they go down further than anticipated, it's going to be open season for cash flow. And if you don't know how to lock up cash flow, you're just going to miss the wave. And this could be I don't want to say a final wave, but you just never know. Rates went up so high, so fast that last cycle, that could happen again too. So while they're low, you have a window. If you miss the window, don't be trying to learn the game while rates are like climbing up. Again, like after this period, because you don't know if it'll come back down or what will happen. This is your window. This is your opportunity for a lot of you. So take advantage of it. Hope that helps. We'll see you guys on the next one. Tap into the ride along March 23rd. Spend a day with me, boots on the ground. We're selling those tickets, so just DM me. You can text me at that number below, 215-398-4709, 215-398-4709. Shoot me a text with questions, and just stay tapped in, guys. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. I'll see you guys on the next one.